driving along, minding my own business, you know.
As one does.
Racing some skateboarder down the interstate, you know.
Right.
Empty, 72 degrees.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the truck's up to 240 degrees, locked itself up and shut itself off. I don't know if you can see that, but I think it's the exhaust cam lobe right there. And can't really see up in number one liner, but I don't know why number one liner got scored. Well, big cam 400. I'm gonna miss you running you 3,000 RPMs, but unfortunately, we gotta make room for the N14, bud. Last night, we got tranny off, exhaust off, got the radiator out, got everything unhooked, all the wiring off. Now we're getting ready to pull the motor. Look, I got my top man over there on the forklift, taking care of business. We're gonna go ahead and get this motor pulled out and get the N14 pulled up here. All right, start her up, lift her up. We're gonna take these motor mount bolts out. Back up a little bit. Okay, start lifting her up, right? That side, so you might have to turn the wheel a little bit. Yeah. Maybe not straight back out. Yeah, what's that? Hang tight, pull it down a little bit. All right, so today's episode of stupid shit I probably shouldn't do. This is the pickup tube that came out of the oil pan I was planning on using. It was off of another big cam motor. This one had a hole in it, but it was a rear sump, so it was just sitting on the motor. That's the oil pan I'm gonna use that I took the pickup tube out of. So I was thinking about switching with this pickup tube here, but it sat outside for a while, and underneath all these clamps, there's like 1/4 inch of rust, and looking down inside the tube, it's just filled with rust. So I'm not gonna use that. I think I'm just gonna weld that back together, which is probably not the best ideal, but I don't have money to get another one. So I'm gonna get it welded up and get it back in. All right, we got it welded up. Well, I guess worst case scenario, it just breaks back off, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and let it cool down. Probably spray it out with some gas, get it good and clean, and then try to get the oil pan back on. All right, get the old gasket off, got the pickup tube back in place. Can't even tell that I welded it. Looks good enough for me, guys. I'm gonna go put this on. I guess I have to. I should at least. Probably a good idea. Well, we got the big cam out. Then we got our N14 over here. Got a oil pan off a big cam on it. We needed a rear sump. Got motor mounts changed over. A few other things I gotta do. I stripped the wiring harness off of it. Need to change the front motor mount and that fan hub. I know it's in the front of the forklift. I don't care. It's getting changed because it needs to be somewhere like here, roughly. So I gotta get a new mount for that. I'm hoping some asshole up in Detroit calls me back so I can go through and get it.
He won't.
But pretty productive day today.
He won't.
There's the old baby Big Cam 2 400. And then there's my ace mechanic.
Oh, that's me. I'm top.
Look how dirty he is. You can tell he's working hard because he's dirty.
Top man.
Top man. All right. We have the front motor mount swapped over to the Big Cam motor mount. Fit right up. The Big Cam harmonic balancer and crank pulley works as well. And we're also going to be switching the accessory drive pulley off of the Big Cam. I haven't quite did that yet because I want to check the bell housing for a run out. I'm getting set up to do that right now. So right now we're gonna check the run out on the flywheel housing. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm gonna share a screen. Okay, so we're gonna check the run out on the flywheel housing. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm gonna share a screenshot of a couple groups I'm in. How everybody says, oh, you don't have to do that. You don't need to do that. No big deal, because nobody ever does it. So it's better just to, be safe than sorry, right? Cummins calls for a maximum of 8 thousandths difference of run out. So we have it at the 12 o'clock position, zeroed out. Make sure this is as straight as possible with this. And make sure your tip on the end of that is tight. So it's at 0 right now. So we're gonna roll it around to 9 o'clock and get a measurement. It's a whole lot easier if 2 people. Well, we're a little bit past, but that's fine. So we're at 4 right there. -4. +6. So we're washed out to 0. And over here, we're at 6. So we're gonna bring the needle back to the top. And our needle's still at 0. That means we have +6 thousandths run out. Cummins on a 20 1/4 inch bell housing, I believe, is 8 thousandths. So we're pretty close to it, but I'm gonna be honest, I messed around for like 45 minutes and this is as good as I can get it. So we're good to drop the motor down in the truck now. We got the water pump. This is a Volvo specific water pump. Here's what that water pump looks like. So since I don't really want to drive down to Kentucky, about 7 hours away, because nobody around here will reply to me, I'm just going to make this water pump work. So I have one. This is off a normal Big Cam. And then this is off, this is off the Big Cam. This is off of the N14. Now, if you look, they look pretty similar, right? The only thing that really is different are these 2 holes right here and here. So what I'm gonna do, and this is probably gonna be stupid, but scared money don't make money, right? I'm just going to drill into the housing of this one right here and here and tap me some holes. And that way I can just use the fan hub and the mount and all that off of the Big Cam and to make it work on the N14. So that's what I think I'm gonna do with that. Took the Volvo water pump off and I got the N14, the regular style. Put on here, I wanna mock up the old fan hub and make sure that the belts are gonna be straight before I drill any holes in it. So put this down on here, put the belts on, mark some holes, and then I can drill and tap them. That looks like it's gonna work out pretty good. So I'm thinking I'm gonna take the factory top plate that was on here, and once I get the motor in, I'm gonna take the motor mount off, and I'm gonna angle the plate over, cut it, weld it, and bolt it into these 4 holes. And so that way it'll hold the fan hub at the top and the bottom. But the big can accessory drive is gonna work. Belts look straight. So I'll mark these holes and then I'll tap them out. So I got my mounting tabs right here cleaned off, smoothed out the best I could, and then I got my pilot hole started. I'm gonna tap it 3/8, so I'm gonna use a 5/16 drill bit. So I'm gonna go about almost 1 inch down. Just give me about 3/4 inch of thread, if you include the tap. So let's see what happens. Got this hole done over here. Turned out fairly well. We're gonna get it mounted up and get the other side done. I've done a lot of stupid stuff. This is probably one of the stupidest things I've done. Got my top man here, my forklift operator, getting ready, and we're gonna drop the N14 down in the A model. Thank you, Kenny. That wasn't so bad.
Well, my dad couldn't have been here hours ago to do that.
Or he could have came over not twacked out last night.
Yeah, that too.
That'd have been nice. Could have had it done then.
But
He was tripping and stumbling when he came in, Kenny. Yeah. Talking 8 million miles a minute.
Really?
And it's like,
hey, I still got the bang on the fucking leg back then, last night then.
yeah.
Oh yeah, she did. Hey baby, I'm
Now what's this for? Is this where you take the cap off or something and plug it in?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's
You know,
OBD porter.
I wish you would have filmed all the stuff about the front accessories while I was out of the truck.
Good picture though.
That's okay.
I filmed a lot of stuff of the front accessories.
Okay,
You split. Dude,
we'll have
out of
to-
everything we've done, I did the most videos on that.
We'll have to squeeze it together.
All we gotta do is do an intro, not near the front of the truck, you know? We're good.
There you go. We did it.
I'm gonna get ready, start on my wiring harness here in a little bit. Now everybody may be thinking, oh man, you're not just gonna buy a $2,000-$3,000 wiring harness. No, I'm not. I'm gonna pin out my own, and I'm gonna show you how to do that here in a minute. So this is the cab to engine harness I got out of the Volvo. And I'm gonna try to keep and utilize this bulkhead plug because I think it'll look nice and I want it. But the only plug you only need the wires coming off of this plug. So if you wanted to, you could just cut it right here and then pin out this plug right here with this wiring diagram, and you only need 2 or 3 wires out of here to make the truck start up and run. But I want a tach, I want my speed sensor, I want cruise control, I want Jake brakes. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna thin this harness out a little bit, and that way I can get rid of all the Volvo crap that doesn't need to be in there. So I got my donor panel here out of the Volvo. This is the engine harness side, and this is the cab side. So right now I got all my wires kind of separated, straightened out. This is just my data port and my throttle pedal. So I'm just going through right now and stripping all the ends so I can get my multimeter out and compare them to that, and then I can pin everything out and mark my whole harness out. So I'm gonna sit here for a couple hours and go through this, but it beats paying 2-3 grand for a custom cruise harness, whatever the hell they're called.
Don't feel bad because I spent half that once.
You know, I have a harness in a box back there. Should I use that?
Nah.
So maybe thinking, why go through all this work when you just get a plug and play harness? I will show you why. Because when you get a plug and play harness, this is what you get. So if you're gonna spend the money and you gotta do all of this work anyways, at least when mine goes through the firewall, it'll look really nice, you know what I mean? But I've had this since, hang on, 9/3/2014. And I've yet to use it because to me, it's just easier if I come over here, pin this out on the factory harness, and then it looks nice when it goes into the truck. So this is our Volvo harness now. This bundle right here is everything needed for the cruise and Jakes, to make it run, tack, all that stuff. That over here, we have about 16 extra wires. So what I'm gonna do is, since I'm not running the ECM to control everything, I'm just gonna use a thermal switch here for the fan and the AC and everything. I'm just gonna run all this wiring right here through that plug so that I can clean this up a little bit. I'm thinking probably somewhere around here, maybe here, probably not here. Somewhere around here is where I'm gonna put the fuse block in at. So hopefully it'll look real nice and it'll help clean all these extra wires up here. But pinning this out and marking everything and getting it sorted took me about 2 hours. So that ain't too bad. So I came to the conclusion, the best place to put this pass-through is gonna be right there. Because you can't see it from the inside. The blower motor and fan controls block it. So what I did is I made a little template, a cardboard. I'm gonna make a seal for it with this as well. And I traced it out. So I'm gonna finish getting this cut out. I guess I'm gonna get the pass-through in there and start hooking all these wires up and rerouting them. We got it in. I added this pass-through right here for the oil pressure line and the manual temp sensor. Added a couple bulkheads down here for the air horn right here. And then right up here, we have the engine fan. So what I got to do next is I found these little stainless steel carriage bolts. So I'm gonna drill those out and try to get these put in there. And then before we get it finally put in, I did make myself a little gasket. So I'll stick some silicone on the one side of it and get that up against the cab. But I think that's gonna look pretty good. For the amp meter, we'll have the wire off the alternator go through here. And then the one coming out of the amp gauge to the starter to charge it, that'll have that feeding out through here. So all these wires, these right here for the AC, I'm gonna put plugs on the end of these and repin it with the extra wires in the harness. Same with all of these wires up here. Hopefully that'll clean the firewall up and make it look a lot better. I'm gonna get to it. And we are officially done with our engine side wiring. Got a charging system coming up, hooking up with, there we go, you can see it. Fan solenoid, thermal switch, manual gauge, coming back here, going through our pass-throughs, engine harness wrapped around. The only reason I did it this way is because it was so long. So if you were to make your own custom harness without using a, or you wanted to depin it, you could. I didn't. I'm fine for being a little long. That doesn't bother me. But the engine side came out, looks pretty good. I mean, look at that firewall up there. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes, plus 1 plug that used to be there that we don't gotta worry about anymore. So that's gonna be nice. This is really gonna clean that up a little bit. All we got now is we have to finish up in here. I got our amp meter hooked up, or charging wires, and I got our air lines hooked up. So now I just gotta hook a few wires up, and I'm gonna try to get it fired up here in a little bit. I am starting on the wiring inside here. There's our pass-through. I got some stuff hooked up. Let's see if I can get a better shot here. Yeah, I got the amp meter, the wires for the amp meter hooked up, and the air lines. So I gotta get this put in and get my throttle pedal hooked up. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Made a little plate for the floor. If I wouldn't have cut my carpet out already, I wouldn't have had to put that there, but it is what it is. So this is my pedal in. It's the Volvo pedal. I don't like it, but it's pretty comfortable. Probably because I'm like almost 7 foot tall. There's my wiring. Eventually I'm gonna make a stainless steel plate or something that covers all this up, but for now it doesn't look too bad. We got our Jake brake switches. We got our cruise control switches. And then, I don't know why, but they wanted an idle switch. Otherwise, it's going to shut itself off. So that's kind of gay. But that's in there. So all that looks pretty good. We have the N14 sitting down in here. Started running a few water lines and painted a few things up front. So now what we're going to do, these are the factory radiator mount location. So we're using a 379 radiator. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide these together. So that way that radiator over there, you see the spacing between those bolts and that pipe? And the factory pipe went down through here. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna take this one right here, I'm gonna flip it around, slide it in, slide that one together, and then drop the pipe out through here to come around. It's not ideal, but that's what we're gonna try to do. So I'm gonna try to get these bolts out and then we'll be back. All right, we got our 379 radiator sitting in here. Side to side clearance, we're gonna be good. I know it doesn't look like it, but we have about 2.5 inches on each side. That's not gonna be a problem. All I did was I slid those mounts together like that. They were over here on each side. And then I'm going to cut a hole for the lower radiator hose to go through. Height-wise, should be okay. I think it might be like 1/2 inch too tall, maybe 1 inch too tall. So we're gonna close the hood here in a little bit and see. But if it is too tall, we can come down another 1.5 inches here, height-wise, before we have to worry about that. Started getting our air piping laid out. This is a charged air pipe off I think it was a T2000 Kenworth. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna cut it here and then twist this and shorten it, and it should go right into there. Still gotta get the wiring done. Still gotta get the training back in. Still gotta get the front done, but we're working on it. Yeah, here, put this in your hand. Put that in your hand. Okay.
Now.
Yeah, just like that almost.
Can you see anything?
Yeah, but you gotta like move it around a little bit. Yeah, okay, perfect, okay.
So I'm gonna line myself up like this.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Now maybe raise your hand up a little bit.
Well, we're gonna have to close the hood. We don't want to smash his hand.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Now, if you start feeling pressure, let us know.
Yeah, if anything starts feeling weird, let us know.
You guys aren't gonna.
We're strong, we got this.
I mean, you ain't going home, are you?
No.
Not yet. Hey, go ahead and say it. That's when we get the hood closed.
All right, here we go. If you feel anything weird, let me know. I'll lift up.
We're going nice and slow.
Nice and slow.
Kyle said he had this closed and the fucking radiator cap come off with it.
Yep. Good so far? Must be good. He's staying down here.
I don't think I'd ride under here going down the road, that's a fact. Whether I had roller skates on or not.
Okay. Hood's closed.
Hood's closed.
Oh, fuck.
What?
That fucking one valve buzzer just, well, I didn't get it in the eye, so I'm okay.
Okay, do you think you got enough video?
Fuck no, I ain't got no video. Like these things here, I should have put them up yesterday.
Okay, shove your hand up there and find the radiator cap.
Oh, the fucking phone went out.
Hang on. We need a flashlight.
I got one car over here.
Mine's kind of dead. It's on the back of the truck on that board on the right side. Passenger, but it's about, okay. No, okay. Here, Kyle. Just a second, big buddy. Okay, hold on. This is going to be a fucking treat. Okay, do what you got to do to get that phone working.
Thank you.
Good thing that Rick's doing this I'm glad this ain't an everyday job that he'd have to do. Jesus. I mean, my
So, when we closed the hood, the radiator cap was hitting on the hood. So, we're going to drop it down about an inch. That's the bracket we have right there that the mounts sit on. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is, these brackets, I think they're off like a T800. And if I move this reinforcement plate right here to the bottom side, we'll gain 1 inch clearance. So I'll have to cut this off, and then I'm gonna have to narrow this about 1/2 inch. Weld it back together, put the reinforcement plate back in on the bottom, and that should get us to the total clearance that we need for the hood to shut. Side to side is beautiful though. We have about 2.5 inches on each side, no problem. So I'm gonna get these cut off and start welding them back together. Here's the mount that came off the truck, or off the radiator, I should say. There's the one that we're making to put on. There's quite a bit of height difference there. That should get us the inch we need. I'm gonna get this lined up on here off of the mount for the tank, so that way I have the right spacing. And then I'm gonna cut this down. I'm gonna put this in here and weld this hole back up, and then re-drill it out so that way it matches the position of this hole right here. And that way the radiator will sit in the same spot, because we have about an inch of clearance from the grill denser that's in it with the AC condenser. And we're gonna have like 5 inches of clearance between the engine fan and the radiator. So I kind of want to keep it here. That's as far as back from the grill as we can get if we use that hole right there. I'm gonna get this cut down and get it welded up. So this is the finished product. Doesn't look too bad.
You think that's gonna work or not work?
I'm gonna blast them up, get them primed, and get them on. Alrighty, we have mounts back in. All I did was mark them around the edge with the paint marker. And then I took some black spray paint and sprayed down the holes so I knew where to drill at. And took a 4-inch hole saw and drilled down through here. Got pretty lucky with that. Didn't have to cut into the side any. Well, we also got the harmonic balancer on, the alternator on. We're starting to run some lines. You know, fun stuff. But we're gonna get the radiator down in here. Hopefully, it'll be easy to mount the hood springs and cables. That's probably gonna be the biggest challenge on this, but you gotta do what you gotta do when you pour. Alrighty, we have the radiator sitting in here. Clearance is gonna be good down there. Mounts seem to be okay. Pretty sturdy for what it is. So what I'm thinking we're gonna do with the hood springs is put that up there. Take the cable, put it down here. It doesn't hit on anything. If we get a better shot of that. Yeah, put that up, cable up there. Cut this top bracket off right here. Take this factory support rod and put it somewhere along here. That's what I'm thinking. I suppose I should start cutting. I kind of don't want to, but I suppose I should start cutting and see how it looks. All right, we have the radiator sitting in here, and with fan hub bracket, slide bracket on. I'm gonna go ahead and put the fan hub on, and we're gonna check the clearance for engine fan to the hub, height side to side. And then once we do that and it's all good, we're gonna make a bracket. We're gonna make a bracket that comes from here to the front of the head to give itself some top support. Let's see how it looks. I went ahead and put the fan hub on, checked for clearances. Then I realized I had to put the accessory drive pulley on and the fan hub on. And I thought, man, I probably should put the fan shroud on as well. So that's looking pretty good. We got about 1.5 inches of clearance up there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some stuff back loose and I'm gonna make a bracket. Hang on, let me turn the light. All right, I'm gonna make a bracket that goes from here to the head. Try to utilize a couple of those bolts. I might put some spacers in to bring it up so I can use all 4 of them. And then I'm gonna cut the adjusting rod so it's a little bit shorter, so it's not sticking up as high as it is right now. So yeah, you can definitely put a big cam fan hub onto an N14. In case anybody's real poor or real cheap, it's possible, it's doable, and it's not that bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and get working on this bracket and get it made up. And I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. The bottom radiator hose is pretty easy. That's the pipe that came off the big cam. That's where the radiator dumps out at. So I got this cheap generic hose out of some kit I had. So I should just be able to cut the hose off, slide that up, hook it right into there. The top radiator hose I can't get to until I switch the thermostat housing, because the way it dumps out right up front here, there's not enough room for it to clear up here at that neck. So the one I'm getting comes straight out the top, and I'll be able to shoot it over and go into that one. Now, this is what I'm thinking for the fan hub, for the top bracket to support it. This is the one off the big cam. It bolted to the front of the fan hub slide right here, and the adjuster bolt went through right here. And this is the motor mount that came off the truck, not the motor mount, the motor pole. So I got this piece of angle iron here. It's a 1/4 inch thick. What we're gonna do, we're gonna take this, get these holes marked out so it's gonna be as high as possible. Then we're gonna cut this top lip down off of here. Cut the back side of this off. Put it on there like that. And then cut these shims down to where we need them to be. And if this is all that held the other one on, just went to 2 head studs, then I'm pretty sure this piece going to 4 motor pole bolts on the head should hold it sufficiently. If not, I guess I'll learn my lesson and I'll have to buy a radiator, but we're gonna see what happens. So I'm gonna get this piece squared up, get these holes drilled into this piece, and measure to cut this down. And I'll show you how that looks when I'm done. Alrighty, this is what I came up with. There's that piece of angle iron with 4 holes in it going up to here. That's the factory top plate that I cut down. I bolted it and welded it, so in case either one failed, it had a backup. This shim right here had to be cut down. I cut a little too much off it. But it's going through that piece of angle iron to the factory bracket. And then that piece over there is just in the factory bracket, and I had to cut it down a little bit as well. But overall, like, it doesn't move at all when you pull in the fan. I'm gonna start the truck up and run it for a little bit. And when I kick the fan on, I wanna see if it moves at all. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna work out pretty good. So yeah, you can definitely put a big cam fan hub onto an N14. Hopefully it lasts. I'll let you guys know. Belt looks nice and straight. That was like one of the things I was really worried about, was the belt not being straight. I got these cut off the top of my radiator here. I'm gonna put the bracket, I'm gonna push the radiator head a little bit and put this right about there. and do my springs. Oh, I guess I'm gonna start drilling a hole, I suppose. So for this Pete radiator and this A model here, all right, got our supports did up here for the top of the radiator. Got our hood cables on and our springs on. This is not the best setup in the world, but the hood's sitting pretty level, so that's always good. So we got our bottom radiator hose on as well. I got it blasted and painted. That's just the one off of the big cam. That black piece is one I just had laying around somewhere off of some random intercooling pipe kit, I think. Fan shroud's on, fans in, all that's good, looking good. Clearance is fine. That hole down there is a little tight. Now, what I realized is with the hood is shut, I could probably bring everything forward like another inch and a half maybe to get my clearance in here tighter to the grill, and my clearance down here would probably be better. So next time I do that, I'll kind of remember that. Yeah, all I have to do now is the top radiator hose, but I gotta change my thermostat housing first before I can do that. And then the radiator will be installed, fan hub's in, exhaust is in, tranny's in. This is the wiring we got going on right now over here. Put some plugs in here for everything over here. And this is for my charging cable and my temp gauge and my pyrometer and my manual oil pressure gauge. And I gotta admit, a firewall does look a lot better so far. These wires here are going. I just gotta get inside the cab and pull them. And the only wire that's gonna be left is for the horn, and I just didn't feel like running a new one for it, so it comes out of that factory plug over there. But yeah, it's coming along, shaping up pretty good. I think all I gotta do is do the wiring on the inside first, and then I'll be able to do a test fire. Here's a little PSA for anybody buying used parts off eBay. Don't expect them to arrive in working condition.
Yeah,
this one's worse.
Oh, that one is worse. That was the better looking one.
Now, the housing's still gonna work, but I'm really glad I didn't just say, hey, I'm sure those thermostats are gonna be fine. Let's run them, you know? So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this cleaned up and get ready to put the new thermostats in. For the top radiator pipe, we're gonna use this one right here. It came out of that Volvo. And we're gonna cut it off somewhere back in here. And then we're gonna use the end of this right here, because it's a 45. So this pipe will be angled over here, kind of like this. And then that 45 will go into it. We should be able to get away with using just one pipe after I weld them together. So I'm gonna get both these cut and get it mocked up and see how it looks. Alrighty, we've cut about 8 inches out of the center right now. Thinking if we, hang on, let me get coordinated here. Cut about another 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch out. It looks pretty good right now. There's just a lot of tension on it, and you can feel it. So we're gonna take a little bit more out. My ace chop saw guy over here. And hopefully it'll work out and we can get it welded up. Got it cut off, cleaned up. And then I made this little clamp right here, put 3 little holes in it so I can check the gap, and then that way I can tack weld it. So I'm gonna get this welded and cleaned up, and then we're gonna start on the driver's side. Do you guys like my handy dandy little welding stand I'm using right now? So we got the pipe welded up. It's not look the best, but it's definitely not the worst weld I've ever put down. It'll hold. All right, I'm gonna get this spot blasted up and paint primed, then we're gonna start working on the driver's side. All right, so coming along pretty good today.
No.
Yesterday we got the tranny in, dry shaft in.
No, we didn't.
Oil pan got switched over, so that's pretty cool.
No, you didn't.
Got this 379 Peterbilt radiator sitting down in here. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe if you think I'm fucking up a good truck by putting a Peterbilt radiator in a Kenworth, you know. Got my big cam fan hub on here. That's pretty cool. Got my air-to-air pipes over there, air drying, because we're classy like that. So now we're getting ready to put the exhaust on because I want to get this into place, the, you know, fill neck and the dipstick, and it's just hitting on the frame and hitting on the block, and it has to be this Volvo turbo is what I'm assuming it is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat this up where I put that line at right there, and we're gonna flatten that out at least an inch. So that way we have a clearance. We're gonna clearance it. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna clearance it. Then that way I can get the rest of the exhaust on, because I almost have all of it on except for this part right here. And yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. I might need a new elbow, who knows. So before I dent that one up, I found this pipe. And I'm thinking I might be able to cut it and weld it and make it work. So that's what we're gonna try to do before I beat that one to death. Thinking if I cut it like right here, and then spin it, and do a weird cut on it, and put this end going down, it might go straight down. So we're gonna try that and see what happens. So we dented that in about as much as I could. I really couldn't go any further down this way because of the bang clamp. And it didn't work. And the other piece that I was trying to use, it didn't work either. So what we ended up doing was, I went over to my dad's, and he had this pipe. And it was kind of flat on the one side already. And I just made this side flat. And it worked out pretty well. Got a little piece of flux pipe in there for some give, you know, that's always important. Now that's done. Alrighty. So, get the wiring done. I eliminated, well, let's see, that plug, that hole, that hole, that hole, and then that plug right there, wiring came out of. So I eliminated that, put it through this factory panel out of the donor truck. From a whole engine harness and AC. I redid all the engine harness for the engine fan and sensors. We had to do some custom air-to-air pipes for our 379 radiator in our A model Kenworth. Wasn't too bad. Height-wise, I needed to drop the factory mounts about an inch, so that wasn't too bad. Redid the support bars to the radiator, did my hood springs and cables. We put a big cam water pump on this N14 because I didn't want to spend money for the N14 fan hub. Fuck me. We got our 379 radiator cooling pack in our A model Kenworth. Height-wise, it wasn't a problem. We had to drop down about an inch off the factory Peterbilt mount. There's our lower radiator hose. That wasn't custom. We used the same one off the big cam. That wasn't a problem. Upper radiator hose, we had to make a custom pipe for that. That wasn't too big a deal. Did our support rods, our cables and springs. We put a fan hub off of a big cam on it instead of the N14 one, because I didn't want us to pay the money for it. So I just made that up, made a bracket, tapped some holes, good to go. Made some air-to-air pipes up for both sides. See, we had to do a little custom exhaust work here to get everything to clear, but we made her in there, that's all that matters. Just got done topping her off with antifreeze. So I'm gonna start her up, pull her outside, and let her run for a little bit, guys. Hopefully, you know, polish on chrome, no more problems. Yeah.